Hello, thank you for being here to be interviewed by me today. So, today we're going to be talking mostly about the Cold War. So, how did the Cold War affect your youth?
Well, certainly I heard a lot about it, and it was in the media when I was growing up, more on radio than TV, because if you can believe it, I was probably about 7 years old before we had a color TV. So certainly hearing about it, and because my family is from Poland and the borders of Poland continued to change through various wars and events and political turmoil, some of my relatives, in fact, lived in what was then the Soviet Union.
That's awesome. So, could you tell me a story about your childhood during this time?
Sure. So actually, probably the best story I can share is in my youth. So I had just started university, and my mom wanted to go visit my grandmother's relatives in the Soviet Union, and she thought it would be a real educational opportunity for me to see how that was. And so in 1983, I went on a six-city tour in the Soviet Union, in Moscow and Kiev and Kishinev and what was then called Leningrad still, and experienced soldiers with rifles and lots of military presence at the airports and on the streets. A very somber environment in terms of people lining up for food and toilet paper and things that they didn't have readily available to them. So I think that was a pretty significant learning experience, and I think my mom was right to take me there. Having said that, the food in the restaurants and the culture and the ballets and the music was unbelievable and so reasonable in terms of the cost. So while there was hardship, there were also some amazing, talented people behind the wall and in the Soviet Union.
So, now on the topic of the wall, what do you remember about the fall of the Berlin Wall?
So it's a bit of an easy thing to remember because it was the year I was married. So in 1989, just a few months after we were married, I remember again lots of media attention. But of course, by 1989, media moved much faster in terms of television and just the very beginning of computer things. Certainly not the internet, but computer communications to some extent, faxing and those kinds of things. So media moved much faster by 1989. And every time I think of it, I know that in the media they kept playing the Pink Floyd song, The Wall. So I do certainly recall that very well.
Okay, thank you for your time.